This is We All Be, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. See how it works? Somewhere. Can you dig it?
Y'all heard about, I think I heard about Dr. Mutulu Shakur. That's 2Pac's stepfather. He was just released from prison, I believe, today. I want to talk a little bit about that because I think it's very important to touch on that. It's interesting, like the men in 2Pac life, the men in 2Pac's life. You think about it. You think about Mutulu Shakur, Dr. Mutulu Shakur. He spent 35 years incarcerated. He should have been out, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, but they kept him in. I believe the judge who actually originally sentenced him is still practicing. I think he's still a judge. I think he's well over. He's in his I want to say he's 91 years old. The judge who originally sentenced Dr. Mutulu Shakur, I believe he's still around practicing, and that's crazy to think about if that's true. But Dr. Mutulu Shakur should have been released. I think a compassionate release, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It dragged on. Now he's in the later stages of cancer. He's not a threat or a menace to society, but yet they kept him in prison all this time when they should have released him several years ago. And what's interesting, you look around the country, I remember like recently with Governor Gavin Newsom of California released a man who actually kidnapped some kids on a school bus out in California and buried them alive. He buried these kids alive. Luckily, I don't think nobody died, but he buried them alive. This is, I want to say happened in the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. The case is out there, but Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, recently let him out of prison. And you had Dr. Mutulu Shakur, who's been in prison, and he helped. It is alleged that he helped Ashada Shakur escape America. She's currently in Cuba, what they're saying, but they're trying to say he was part of this bank robbery thing. 2Pac is very interesting. I believe that Dead Presidents is supposed to be based on 2Pac's family, a very unique family. Then Dr. Mutulu Shakur, stepfather, his godfather was Geronimo Pratt. Geronimo Pratt spent almost 30 years in prison out in California. They accused him of killing this young white lady on a tennis court, I believe somewhere near or around L.A. He actually was at a Black Panther meeting in Oakland. And the reason why we know this is certain is because he was on the government surveillance. The government had him on surveillance. They knew all that time that Geronimo Pratt did not kill that white lady down in Southern California, that he was on the surveillance by the government. They withheld that information from the jury of his original trial, from my understanding, and spent almost 30 years. I want to say about 27 years in prison. Johnny Cochran fought to get him free. I believe Geronimo Pratt ended up getting like a $10 million settlement from the government. If I'm not mistaken, you can look all this up. I'm just going off the top of my head what I can remember. I believe he died in Tanzania in Africa back in 2010. That's 2Pac's godfather. And then his stepfather, Dr. Mutulu Shakur, I believe he had like a clinic up in New York City where he was treating people. He was helping people detox from drugs. Drug addicts, helped them get them clean through the art and the healing practice of acupuncture. I think it's acupuncture. Acupuncture where they use the needles and stuff like that. Acupuncture. And this is 2Pac's people. His aunt, Ashada Shakur. She had got the country. They still trying to get her, wanted, dead or alive. Right? Obama increased the bounty, I believe, on her head. And, you had the scenario where think Jay-Z and Beyonce went to Cuba during the Obama administration. There was like a lot of controversy on that. And like Dick Gregory talks about how they utilize celebrities, like the intelligent agencies would utilize celebrities to pass notes to heads of states, foreign governments, and things like that to communicate behind the scenes. So I don't know what that was about, because Jay-Z actually did a song about it. I want to say this back in 2014. He did a song about it. I don't know what happened in 2013 or 2014 when Jay-Z or Beyonce went to Cuba. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening, so I don't know. Dennis Rodman been used. He's best friends with the dictator of North Korea, right? So they utilize Dennis Rodman. He's a court jester. He's not a fool. He plays the part of a fool, but he's very, very intelligent. And they have utilized Dennis Rodman to help in certain type of negotiations with foreign powers like North Korea. We talked a little bit about that with Baba Dick Gregory on the show as well too. But people always talk about a code and whatnot, and Dr. Mutulu Shakur actually helped Tupac create the Thug Life Code. You could Google the Thug Life Code that Tupac, Tupac said Thug Life means the hell you give little infants, F's everyone or everybody. And he actually created a code of conduct with Dr. Mutulu Shakur. And I might read a little bit of the code on tonight's show. But I think it's important to talk about people like him because, people always talk about the folks. There's some people that get over celebrated. And then there are folks who don't get appreciated at all for the sacrifices that they made and how they go unacknowledged. But they stay true to the cause and they don't get rewarded for that. And our people tend to forget people. It's like we got this weird thing where the worse somebody treat us as a people, the more we love them. It's the Stockholm syndrome we got as a people. But I want to read this article about Dr. Mutulu Shakur being released, and we'll go from there. This is We All Be, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. That's We All Be, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. We'll talk about Dr. Mutulu Shakur. And we'll try to keep this at a nice pace. Dr. Mutulu Shakur, he's late stages of cancer, but hopefully he could make good use of the time while he's still around. And I want to thank the folks that worked to make sure that this case got some type of notoriety. Like I said, he was been released several years ago. I want to say around either 2016 or 2017. And they just kept him in for 5 years for whatever, 5 or 6 extra years. Okay, let me read. This is from Tag 24 News. Story by Caitlin Kennedy. Mutulu Shakur, stepfather of Tupac, returns home after 36 years behind bars. So this is 36 years. Okay, wow. Lexington, Kentucky. Mutulu Shakur, a freedom fighter with the Black Liberation Army and Republic of New Africa, has been released from prison after more than 35 years behind bars. Headline said 36. Story more than 35 years. About the same difference. News is interesting how they report certain things. But anyway, on Friday, supporters of Mutulu Shakur, stepfather of the late rapper 2Pac Shakur, announced he had been released from a federal medical center in Lexington, Kentucky, and was back home in time to spend the holidays with his family in Southern California. Now 72 years old, Shakur was given just months to live in late May after being diagnosed with terminal bone marrow cancer. After receiving this grave medical news, Shakur was nonetheless denied compassionate release in June. The parole commission finally granted a motion for his release in October, allowing him to live out his final days surrounded by family and friends. Shakur was arrested in 1986 on charges of conspiracy to violate the Racketeer, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations RICO, all right, Act, bank robbery, armed bank robbery, and bank robbery murder. The Baltimore born activist was accused of leading revolutionaries in a series of armed robberies in Connecticut and New York. During one of the robberies, 3 people died, though Shakur's supporters say there is no evidence he killed anyone. He was also convicted of aiding fellow Black Liberation Army activist Ashata Shakur in her 1979 escape from a New Jersey prison. Before his arrest, Shakur was a well-known acupuncturist who advocated for holistic healing practices to address drug addiction and rehabilitation. Okay. Shakur was widely recognized to have had an impeccable record while incarcerated. Despite that, it took a years-long fight and a terminal cancer diagnosis to secure his freedom in what may have been his final days. And what may be his final days, excuse me. Okay, because they gave you a little bit. So basically, they punishing him for his life as an activist. They are punishing him for being a revolutionary, basically, for trying to serve and help his people, and they hold him accountable or liable for helping Ashata Shakur escape the country. So that's really about getting him for what he done or what they think he done as a younger man. Has nothing to do with necessarily right or wrong, but more about revenge, retribution, and get back. It's kind of like what's going on with the former H. Rap Brown, the brother who's incarcerated. We know him as H. Rap Brown. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? Let me say his name. Used to be H. Rap Brown. What is it now? My good brother who was leader of SNCC. He go by Jamil Abdullah Al-Amin. Jamil Abdullah Al-Amin, formerly known as H. Rap Brown. He's currently incarcerated. I believe he's in dire health himself. I don't know if he has cancer or not per se, but what's weird about that case is that they actually had somebody confess to actually killing the sheriff deputy. It sounded like he was framed because of the work he was doing as an activist, as a community activist in Atlanta. He was cleaning up his neighborhood, regulating the neighborhood, making it safe for young people, for old people, getting the drugs out the neighborhood. Getting a lot of the Panthers back in the day, they're all about getting the drug dealers out the community and whatnot and doing things like that. Or some people may say they're trying to control the drug trade out in Oakland. If you listen to the stories about Huey P. Newton and the Mac, the story of the Mac, the movie The Mac, he actually had real life pimps as consultants on the Mac. And he was a brother, family of pimps. I guess Huey wanted money, whatever. I mean, everybody's complex. I actually, Huey P. Newton was an interesting guy. Even in the Geronimo Pratt thing, I heard issues like some of the Panthers, from what I read, claimed that Huey kept some of them people from testifying on Geronimo Pratt's behalf. I don't know how true any of that is, but some of the Panthers said they were told to stand down by Huey P. Newton. Even if that was the case, the government knew that Geronimo Pratt was not able to be in Southern California to kill that white lady at the tennis court, whenever that transpired. He was in Oakland at a Panther meeting. The government knew that. So then it didn't make a difference what Huey approved or didn't approve of. The fact that the government knew that Geronimo was innocent and yet they withheld evidence from the jury, that's an insult. That's an insult. And Geronimo was a veteran, a decorated Vietnam War veteran who lost his wife tragically. His wife was murdered while she was pregnant in Los Angeles. So these are Tupac's mentors or jegnas who were railroaded. So why would you think that Tupac would have got justice when he was going through it at the end of his life, with the rape accusations and all the other stuff he was encountering in court? He knew it was no justice, just us. Because look how they did his stepfather. Look how they did his godfather. Look how they did his aunt. So I can believe that the movie Dead Presidents is based on Tupac's family. Based on what I just read to you all, he had an issue with the Hughes brothers. Were the Hughes brothers who did Minister Society, and they did Dead Presidents. And I think Dead Presidents was problematic in a way and how they conceived it and executed it, but it's still a hood classic, right? Dead Presidents is still a hood classic, but that was Tupac's family story. And he felt like the Hughes brothers stole his family story, from what I understand from research and all this other stuff. But it's good to see that the brother is home. But they gave him that package. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't imagine the conditions he was in prison for almost 40 years, what they were doing to him. It had to be torture because he supposed to been released even like 5 or 6 years ago, and they withheld him from being released. They violated his civil liberties and human liberties. So let me find the Thug Life. And he had an impeccable record in prison. He was no troublemaker. He was a peacemaker, solution oriented, but he was a warrior for his people. Like I said, he used acupuncture as a way to treat drug addiction. Let me see. Look at the Thug Life Code. And this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. So I found the code of Thug Life. I just want to share this with you all. Cause like people always talking about, stay on code. And I be asking people what's the code. Y'all be saying these catchphrases because y'all hear y'all favorite talking heads say, you ain't on code, you off code. But what is the code? Nobody can articulate the code. I know a couple of things the righteous ancestors have left blueprints for us to follow as code. If you are a fan of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she actually do have a code that a lot of folks say they love Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, but they do not abide by her code. She did not believe in name calling other black people, especially that N word a lot of us love to use. She did not believe in name calling black people, black folks calling each other names and all this stuff. But people say they are followers of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, but they do not adhere to her code. So I think that's very interesting because it's like the Bible. People say they're Christians, but a lot of folks never read the entire Bible. People say they are proud Americans, but a lot of us have never read the entire Constitution nor the Declaration of Independence. So I just think it's people like, people say things, they are only so and so in name only. A lot of us are only code followers in name only. In theory, we don't practice what we preach because we do not understand the text that we get our practice from or our preaching from. We don't understand it, but we say these catchphrases. But Tupac and Dr. Mutulu Shakur actually took the time to write a code for Thug Life. And let me put it on the screen. And this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. It's been a long day, man. I got a long Saturday ahead of me. We're going to be celebrating my cousin Suntrice graduation and birthday. Big graduation birthday bash is today. So as a good cousin, I'm going to be there, say some words and have a good time. And I want to make sure I leave you all with some food for thought before I do my family duties. So I got this from MutuloShakur.com, Code of Thug Life. Let's see. The Thug Life Code, right? Let's take a look at it. I read this before one of my presentations, I believe. In 1992, at a ceasefire agreement and gang truce barbecue in Watts, California, 2Pac Amaru Shakur was instrumental in getting rival members of the Crips and Bloods to sign a code of ethics that which is called the Code of Thug Life. He and Dr. Mutulu Shakur had helped write up the code with other OGs who came together to bring order to the violence on the street. And y'all, I'm gonna put the link to the Code of Thug Life in the chat. We get heavy for your records because we all about feeding the people. As we all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. News free Dixie for the 21st century. The Code of Thug Life is in the chat. Okay. Yum yum. Eat it up, folks. Yum yum. Okay, let me go through these codes right quick. The Code of Thug Life. Okay. Got about 26 rules to the game. 26, y'all. 26 rules or laws of thug life, I guess. Number one, all new jacks to the game must know A, he's going to get rich. B, he's going to jail. C, he's going to die. Crew leaders, this number two. Crew leaders, you are responsible for legal, financial payment commitments to crew members. Your word must be your bond. Rule number three, one crew's rat is every crew's rat. Rats are now like a disease. Sooner or later, we all get it, and they should too. Rule number four, crew leader and posse should select a diplomat and should work ways to settle disputes. In unity, there is strength. Rule number five, carjacking in our hood is against the code. Rule number six, slinging the two children is against the code. Rule number seven, having children slinging is against the code. Rule number eight, no slinging in schools. Rule number nine, since the rat Nicky Barnes opened his mouth, ratting has become accepted by some. We're not having it. Rule number 10, snitches is out of here. Wow. Okay. A lot about snitching and rats, but you look at what happened recently. Not just Tekashi 6ix9ine, but you know what's going on in Atlanta. Y'all know what's up. Y'all hip hop heads or whatever y'all call yourselves. Y'all know what's going on. They will not made it through the thug life. And they say they love Tupac, but they're not following the rules and the code. Rule number 11. The boys in blue don't run nothing. We do. Control the hood and make it safe for squares. Rule number 12. No slinging to pregnant sisters. That's baby killing. That's genocide. Rule number 13. Know your target. Who's the real enemy? Rule number 14. Civilians are not a target and should be spared. Rule number 15. Harm to children will not be forgiven. Rule number 16. Attacking someone's home where their family is known to reside must be altered or checked. Rule number 17. Senseless brutality and rape must stop. Rule number 18. Our old folks must not be abused. Rule number 19. Respect our sisters, respect our brothers. Rule number 20. Sisters in the life must be respected if they respect themselves. Rule number 21. Military disputes concerning business areas within the community must be handled professionally and not on the block. Rule number 22. No shooting at parties. Rule number 23. Concerts and parties are neutral territories. No shooting. Okay. Rule number 24, know the code. It's for everyone. Rule number 25, be a real roughneck. Be down with the code of the thug life. Rule number 26, protect yourself at all times. And I'm gonna read this quote. It got borrowed from Tupac. I didn't create thug life, I diagnosed it. So yeah, Tupac was definitely a social scientist. Now you read these rules, right? You read this code. It remind me of the phone conversation that Monster Cody, he's an ancestor now. Monster Cody, the infamous Crip, game making Crip guy out in Cali. It was a phone conversation between Monster Cody and Tupac that was recorded. I don't think they had knowledge of them being recorded. I think Monster Cody's wife recorded them on the phone. I think it's about 30 minutes, but it's like they talking about organizing and stuff like that. And it's interesting to hear the names that were brought up, because I think Tupac brought up working with Al Sharpton, but Al Sharpton has been proven to be an FBI informant. You know, y'all do know Al Sharpton was exposed as an FBI informant, right? Y'all do know that. It was like this several years ago. You know, Al Sharpton is a product of organized crime. You know what I'm saying? And but Tupac was talking. Man, I just Tupac is kind of like it's just fascinating to think about Tupac, because look at his family. We talked about Dr. Mutulu Shakur, talk about Geronimo Pratt, Ashada Shakur, even his mom, Afeni Shakur, representing herself in that Panther 21 thing. You had these Panthers, I think 21 Black Panthers accused of trying to blow up historic landmarks in New York City. And it was actually set up by Malcolm's former bodyguard, Eugene Roberts, who was undercover NYPD, part of the Bossy program. So you had Malcolm's chief bodyguard, Eugene Roberts, set up Afeni Shakur and her comrades. And Afeni, while she was pregnant with Tupac, represented herself in court brilliantly. She did a brilliant job of representing herself in court. But after that, she was blackballed. She couldn't find employment, gainful employment. So her Panther past followed her wherever she went. And also on that, she did not give Tupac the chance to connect with his biological father. He didn't know that I think Tupac existed until he got shot that first time from that Quad Studios incident up in New York City, and he visited him in the hospital. And Tupac basically said, I saw a dude like me that was a lighter skinned version of me staring at me. And that was his biological father. Now, if you look at, I don't know if you ever seen pictures of Tupac's father's mom, but Tupac was just like his grandma. He got the features of his grandmother. And I'm gonna pull that picture up. You can look for yourself how similar they look. He had a beautiful grandmother who died, unfortunately, real young. She died when his father, her name was Eloise Garland, I believe. Let's see if I can find a picture. Let's see. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Can you dig it, man? Trying to find a good picture. Got some strong jeans, man. Strong jeans. Okay. I think I found a good picture. So that's Tupac's paternal grandparents. His grandma and his grandfather. Billy Garland. That's his father's name. Billy Garland. That's his people. I thought I had it. Okay. That's his people right there. Billy Garland's his biological father. That's his parents. His mom, Eloise, and his father. So those Tupac look like his people. So his mom kept the fact that this was his biological father away from him, and he didn't find out until he thought his father was actually dead. He thought his biological father was this gangster from New York, I think named Legs or something like that. Y'all can look it up. I mean, I'm a Tupac fan, but he had his government name, Lashane Paris Crooks. Was that 2Pac's government name? Lashane Paris Crooks or something like that. But anyway, those is father's people. And like his grandmother died when she was young, his father was a kid. So yeah, he didn't know who his father was until he got shot the first time. He didn't find that out. Athena was strong out on drugs. I don't know why she didn't tell 2Pac who his real father was all that time. I don't know. And you guys got to think about 2Pac only lived to be 25 years young. So, I mean, he did a lot of living in that short period of time. It's kind of like with Jean-Michel Basquiat, who I think Jean-Michel was born December 22nd. He's one of my favorite artists of any genre. Everybody in the art school wanted to be Jean-Michel, but nobody want to die a young death in order to achieve that fame and immortality as a Jean-Michel Basquiat. But yeah, I'm just glad Dr. Mutulu Shakur got a chance to get out, but it was unfortunate he's punished because Ashada Shakur can never return to America unless they still got a bounty on her head. And Obama, your president, helped increase that bounty on her head. Like I said, I believe Jay-Z and Beyonce went to Cuba for whatever reason, because they were close to the Obama presidency, right? To the Obama administration, just like Al Sharpton. So yeah, they got similar smell of nose. You can't deny that. Genetics is something else, boy. Yeah, I know. Harlem. It's funny how they don't want to say, but yeah, like he hate New York so much. He's from New York, and when he was in Baltimore, he was known as MC New York. That's how much he loved New York. So I mean, all this 2Pac hate the East Coast and all this kind of weird. Where they from? I believe his You do some research. I believe his dead people. I want to say his grandma's from Florida. Thank you, brother Maurice Miles, for the you said great commentary. Thank you for the donation. We love you madly. I want to say his mom. Just you could Google that up, but it's something I just want to put out there because Dr. Mutulu Shakur, I believe that new black media owes our people the report these type of stories as well as the sensationalized stories. We're going to talk a little bit about the sensationalism going on with the boss, the Twitch boss, whatever the guy named Steven boss, DJ Twitch, whatever. I wasn't aware of the brother because I'm not a. I used to love Ellen DeGeneres when she had a sitcom back in the 90s before she came out the closet. I used to be a big fan of that sitcom growing up, the Ellen DeGeneres show when she had this sitcom and Ellen was cool, and then all this other stuff started coming out. But what's interesting about? Okay, I'm gonna say that for that for that segment. Yes, he is a legend, but we got to get our other legends. Like we got to get Mumi Abu Jamal, right? There's a brother up in Pennsylvania. There's so many of our people. Like we talk about Shanquella Robinson. I wish we had the same type of just push for people that's still alive, that's barely hanging on, like real elders, like um Mumi Abu Jamal, who's in Pennsylvania catching hell, who's they trying to kill. Another one of our Panther brothers, Liberation Brothers or whatever. And okay, I thought I might have disconnected my mic. But even when I get a chance, do a couple of shows about our people, man. The freedom fighters that's still behind enemy lines. We all really behind enemy lines, but do a shout out to those people, man, that we can help. A lot of us be so into like, let's help brother H. Rap Brown. Let's help brother Jamil Abdullah Al-Amin. Say his name, Jamil Abdullah Al-Amin. I'm gonna put his name in the ideal room because y'all pretty well educated, y'all activist minded in your own way. Research this brother. I'm gonna put that in the chat room, ideal room, whatever. Brain trust. Y'all some homework. And research that, brother. Research that name, Jamil Abdullah Al Amin. Al Amin is the reason. That Tupac thing was interesting because like Tupac is such a polarizing figure for a lot of people. I remember when he passed, he had a lot of talking heads in the black community, like well-known celebrities like Attavist Smiley or Vanessa Williams. They tried to discredit Tupac when he first passed on. They thought he was just a thug and all this other stuff. But now we almost 30 years removed from his death, which is crazy to believe. It's been over 26 years since they took out Pac, and Pac is just as relevant as ever. I don't know. He was in deep cover. Like his thing when he trying to flip those gangs. Like you even hear about in the Thug Life Code, he was trying to organize and politicize the gangs. Just like Fred Hampton was trying to politicize the gangs in Chicago, he called them his tribes, his Rainbow Coalition. He's trying to politicize the Young Lords, the Students for a Democratic Society, as well as the Black Peace Stone Nation with Jeff Fort. You know, Fred was a threat, and Tupac was well aware of Fred Hampton. I mean, he knew who Fred Hampton was growing up. You know, and he was Tupac was a leader of the Young Black Panthers, the vanguard, like the new Black Panther, young Panther Cubs. He had a leadership role in the young generation, the next generation of Black Panthers. But you know, hip hop is COINTELPRO. Like I tell people all the time, if you look at if they say Fred Hampton would have been like NBA YoungBoy today, NBA YoungBoy could have been Fred Hampton back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they co-opted, I mean, Stokely or Kwame or even the brother formerly known as H. Rap Brown. You guys was nice with the mic back in the day. You look at Bunchy Carter. They call him the mayor of the ghetto out in L.A. He was known for writing poetry. He could have been like Kendrick Lamar, or he could have been like, you know, a gangster rapper. I don't know, but they knew what they were doing. Because I was even talking in the barbershop today about the music, because we were talking about you know, Glorilla. I'm in Memphis, right? And it got this chick, this rapper named Glorilla. We're gonna talk about her later on in this show. But Glorilla, a lot of girls, a lot of women, young and old, they love Glorilla. And I'm trying to see what is the appeal to a Glorilla. Because she's an interesting character. She looks interesting. She sounds interesting. But I'm just not catching on to the wave like a FNF song is catchy, I guess. But at the same, I'm not seeing what it is about her that people are loving. Because, like, for example, I like Meg Thee Stallion. I mean, I like some of her stuff. I like a lot of her. Some of her stuff is cool, it's catchy, right? She got the look, she got lyrics, she got nice beat selection, yada yada. I don't know what the Glorilla thing is about. I gotta do some more research, but it's interesting. But the music, like the love is out of the music. I was in the barbershop and they were playing Silent Night by the Temptations. That was some soul music. I don't care what was going on with David Ruffin or all them guys. Them guys was singing from the soul, man. They were singing from the heart. You could hear it in the music, in the lyrics, in the production. It was all about love, man. That was love. And you don't hear that no more in the music of today. And it's really by design. You know, like a lot of times these rap songs ain't really hits until they sample the old school stuff. Now they gotta sample some Stevie or some Isaac or some Marvin or some James or some Ruffin, or you know, they gotta sample the stuff they had on Barry White. They gotta sample the stuff that had the actual soul in it. People that had connections to the church. And I think what Snoop Dogg, people don't understand. Snoop Dogg grew up in the church. He sung in his church choir. That's why a lot of Snoop stuff still be catchy. You look at Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg was in his family gospel group out in Clarksdale, Mississippi. And Nate Dogg is not from Long Beach. No, he's from Clarksdale. Brothers from Clarksdale, Mississippi. was in a family gospel group. That's why Nate had that soul, man. He still had, the church could be problematic, but one thing you can't say about the black church, we didn't have phenomenal talent come out the black church. You had a generation like Al Green, Aretha Franklin, Sam Cooke, Marvin Gaye. You mean, had so many of them. Otis Redding, even Jimi Hendrix. They all got roots in the black church. And now that's missing today. And the music is dead. And I like some of the music, but the reason why I like a lot of the music that I like that's contemporary is because of who they sampling. The old soul music they sample. Not even necessarily I can understand what they saying in the lyrics and stuff. It's just that it's the what they sampling. Yeah, his folks, matter of fact, Snoop and Brandy and Ray J, they all cousins. They all got roots in Macomb, Mississippi. Snoop is from the West Coast, but his folks are from Mississippi. Suge Knight's folks is from Mississippi. Nate Dogg is from Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? It's all that root. Yeah. Yeah, it was done by design. Of course, we know that now. We didn't know that then. Yes, sir. But you know what's sad is that C. Dolores Tucker, and I'm a big Tupac fan, but as I get older, I had to admit that C. Dolores Tucker was correct in her assessment of the music industry and how they treated our people. Because, like, black folks are the least protected group when it comes to so-called culture. We get taken upon, we get exploited and everything. But what I'm saying is, even Reverend Calvin Butts, who just passed, they were correct in a lot of ways about the music. Because, like, with black people, we gotta understand is that we are the manifestors of humanity. We manifest things. It's like we just can't be like an Eminem when you Tupac. You got a certain type of soul. You know what I'm saying? Like you communicating with certain entities and powers that, like, even if you look at the code, that was written in 92, right? It's like after the riots, the Rodney King riots, Latasha Harlins and all that stuff. And if you look at even the video footage of the brothers and sisters doing the LA riots or Aftermath, they were more aware than we are now. A lot of our people are still asleep. We sleepwalking. We catch a wave. We do like the black people Twitter thing, Shanquilla Robinson, but you don't have no appreciation for Dr. Mutulu Shakur. But y'all say y'all love Tupac, but y'all don't even understand who that man was who helped cultivate a Tupac and why he should be out of prison, should have been out of prison 6 years ago. We don't understand our brother formerly known as H. Rap Brown, why he shouldn't be in prison right now, Mumi Abu Jamal. We honor the dead, like George Floyd ain't never committed himself. No disrespect to George Floyd, but George Floyd does not deserve to be on the same status as a Jerome Pratt or Dr. Mutulu Shakur. And I'm just basing not on the way he died. It was tragic how he died. But I'm saying in terms of his life commitment, was he committed to the cause like these brothers were and are? So it's something like, why do we elevate certain people and we neglect others? Even Tupac was using his platform to educate people about Mutulu Shakur and all the other political prisoners. And that's why they had to get rid of Tupac, because he knew the power. Because Tupac said, if I could sell 5 million records, that's 5 million voters I could reach. Tupac was going to flip the game, but at the same time, it is what it is, partner. People die all the time. You know what I'm saying? And things happen. And what you going to do about it? Does the movement stop with one person, or do we do like what Dr. John Henry Clark said? You bury the man and continue to plan. We got to bury the man. God bless the dead, but keep it moving because life goes on. Tupac even rap about life goes on. Life goes on. So anyway. Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.